Welcome to The Explainer. Look, today we're literally tearing up those glossy university brochures to get to the real story. We've been digging through the actual data and the real-world advice for international students packing their bags for Ireland. And honestly, we found some unbelievable, unvarnished truths about what it actually takes to thrive there. We're talking about the stuff that gets whispered in university corridors, definitely not the stuff printed on official websites. Everything the university brochure, the official scholarship page, and the polished videos deliberately skip. I mean, that quote right there really says it all. That is exactly what we are uncovering today. Think of this explainer as your ultimate survival to success playbook. It's built entirely on the real, slightly panicked questions currently flooding Reddit and Facebook groups from the incoming class of 2026. We are completely bypassing the marketing and getting straight to the blueprint.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our roadmap today is a quick 4-step journey. We're starting with basic survival, so housing and non-negotiable rules. Then we look at the practical shocks of daily life. Next, we'll decode some Irish culture quirks, and finally, the ultimate goal, landing your Irish job. Section 1, Survival, Housing, and Rules. We really need to tackle the highest anxiety issues first before we can get to the fun stuff.
So, let's talk about the big one. 2,300 euros. Yeah, you heard that right. That is the staggering average monthly rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Dublin right now. Ireland has a documented severe housing shortage. Even just a shared room in a house can set you back anywhere from 800 to 1,200 euros a month. Do not wait until a few weeks before term starts to look for accommodation. It is absolutely crucial that you start your search on platforms like daft.ie a full 6 months early. You've got to treat finding a bed like it's your very first university assignment.
Now here's another number you absolutely cannot ignore, 20. As an international student on a Stamp 2 visa, 20 hours is your strict weekly work limit during the academic term. And listen, do not try to game this system. It turns out Revenue's modernized PATY system tracks payroll data in real time, which means the Department of Justice knows exactly how many hours you are working. Breaching this 20-hour limit, it can literally cost you your postgraduate visa and get you removed from the state. No joke. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it's going to save you a massive panic attack when you get your first Irish paycheck. You're going to look at your payslip and see 40%, yes, 40% of your earnings just gone, vanishing to something called emergency tax. Take a deep breath. As we found out, literally everyone goes through this. It's just an administrative hurdle because the tax office doesn't have your details yet. It is not a penalty, it's not a fine, and it is 100% fixable. So, here is your recovery plan. Think of this as advice from a wise friend sitting with you in the pub. Step 1. You just register for a My Account on revenue.ie using your PPS number. Step 2. Add your new employer using their tax registration number, which, by the way, is right there on your payslip. Step 3. Revenue issues a certificate, and you get all that overdeducted 40% refunded directly into your next payslip. But hear me clearly on this. You must actively do this. It does not happen automatically. Moving right along to Section 2, Practical Shocks of Daily Life. These are the jarring daily realities that are really going to hit you in those first 2 months. Okay, so you've secured a room, you've sorted your taxes, but now you actually have to live in Ireland. If you're coming from a bustling 24-hour city in Asia, the Irish schedule is going to feel, well, incredibly wild to you. I mean, in December, it is pitch black outside before 4 p.m. Yet in June, the sun is literally still up at 10 p.m. And hey, don't expect to go shopping after class either. Most high street shops close promptly at 6 p.m., and Sundays are even quieter. Because of that dramatic winter darkness, I highly recommend picking up a SAD lamp. Seasonal affective disorder is very real, and that lack of sunlight is a massive, massive adjustment. Now on to surviving the cold and the healthcare system. One of the most surprising takeaways is how important BER ratings are. Irish homes can be notoriously cold. When renting, an A to C rating is good, but a D1 rating, that means your apartment will be freezing and your heating bills will completely drain your wallet. Second, pack a genuine seam-sealed waterproof jacket. It rains year-round for sure. And finally, so the crucial point is this: register with your university GP on day 1. Healthcare waitlists are no joke here. Waiting until you are actually sick to try and find a doctor, that is a terrible idea. All right, Section 3, Decoding Irish Culture Quirks. Let's shift gears a bit and look at the unwritten social rules of the island.
Ireland is incredibly friendly, but there are unwritten social rules here that will leave you totally baffled if you don't know the code. The Irish are famously indirect. Take the word grand. Back home, grand might mean magnificent or huge. In Ireland, it means acceptable or functioning. It absolutely does not mean excellent. So if your professor looks at your thesis draft and says, "Yep, that's grand," or "That's fine," do not be insulted. In the context of Irish understatement, that is actually a high praise.
Okay, this next one is going to save your sanity. The phrase, "I will, yeah." If you ask a landlord to fix a heater or a classmate to finish their part of a group project, and they say, "I will, yeah," be warned. This essentially translates to, "I acknowledge your request, and I don't want to be rude by saying no right now, but I probably won't do it." Taking this literally will cause you daily frustration. It's really fascinating how polite avoidance works here. So always, always press for a specific date and time. And whatever you do, do not mess with the queue. The queue in Ireland is absolutely sacred. If you accidentally cut a line at a bus stop or a coffee shop, nobody's going to yell at you. Instead, you will be hit with devastating, laser-focused passive aggression aimed at the air right next to your head. They won't confront you directly, but oh, you will feel the intense disapproval of everyone around you. Always find the back of the line. Which brings us to our final act, Section 4, landing your Irish job. Time to focus on the ultimate goal, securing your career and navigating the Irish corporate landscape.
The Irish CV is where most international students trip up immediately, and this brilliantly illustrates the difference. Think of what you might use back home: a photo, date of birth, a long list of duties. But the Irish CV is totally different. Because of strict equality laws, including a photo or your age are immediate red flags that can actually get your application binned just to avoid bias concerns. Keep it to 1 or 2 pages maximum. And please, don't just list your duties. Irish employers want to see outcomes and achievements. Tell them the actual impact you made.
Let's anchor this career advice with some real hard data. These are actual 2026 salary expectations across major sectors. Just look at the massive financial difference between coming in as a fresh graduate versus having just 2 or 3 years of experience. A fresh software engineer is looking at up to $50K, but with a bit of experience, that jumps up to $80K. If you have experience from your home country, you absolutely must properly frame it for Irish employers so you aren't severely underpaid. You see, the Irish job market is intensely relationship-driven. LinkedIn is far more powerful than Indeed over there. Direct recruiter outreach is expected, and honestly, it's welcomed. And remember that experience we just talked about? Contextualize it. If you worked at a massive tech firm back home that an Irish recruiter has never heard of, explain that it's a 300,000-person Fortune 500 company. Put it into perspective. Lastly, use the coffee chat. Reaching out on LinkedIn to ask for a quick 20-minute informational chat is an incredible secret weapon for building genuine professional relationships.
So what does this all mean? It means you now possess the playbook. You know how to dodge the 40% tax trap, you know that grand means just okay, you know definitely not to mess with the queue, and you know exactly how to tailor your CV to actually get hired. You are fully prepared to take on the real Ireland. But mastering these basics is really only chapter 1. Once you land that first job and settle into the local pub culture, what unwritten rules of the Irish corporate ladder are waiting to be discovered next? Thanks for joining me on This Explainer, and stay curious out there on your Irish journey.